Everybody can settle down. We'll go ahead and get started here. Somebody like to make a motion to open the meeting? Public hearing? All in favor? Aye. At this point, just basic rules for the conduct of the meeting here. I'm going to go through the people who signed up to speak tonight, to give public comment. We're going to allow 3 minutes for each person to make their comments. And we've got a total of 21 people that requested to speak. At the end of that process, if anybody come in after the start of the program, if they want to speak, we can certainly add them onto the list. So I'm going to go ahead and start right in with the first speaker is Tom Warner. Yeah, come up to the podium if you could. And quick side note, the podium is facing the crowd so that the TV people can see it and so forth. So usually the protocol would be to have the person facing the planning board because the comments are being made to the planning board and not to the public itself. And we had the mic brought over to Tom. Is that easy or? How you doing, Tom?
Thank you.
All right?
Fine. Just a little on the downside.
Hold on tight.
Thank you.
Good time.
Tom Warner. I think everybody knows I'm from Amenia. If you don't, I'll let you know. Anyway, my issue is I questioned some of the actions of Silo Ridge, and I was informed by the Secretary of the Planning Board that they have no restrictions on anything. They can do whatever they please. So if that's the case, this meeting is useless. Thank you.
The next speaker was Dan Johnson. Good evening.
Good evening. I had no intention of going second, but here I am. I'm here, I represent H.G. Page Lumber, and it's my pleasure to be here. I'm a town councilman, an hour and a half from here. I drove an hour and 40 minutes to get here, and I'll drive an hour and 40 minutes to get back, and I'd be glad to do it again in support of this project. I've had the experience over the last 2 years. I did not know.
Can you state your name for the press, please?
Dan Johnson. I've been dealing with the people at Silo Ridge, mostly Mike Ignacco, for the last couple years, and I find him to be a man of integrity. When they say they're going to buy local, they actually do buy local. I've had occasion to be on their job site dozens of times, and I've never seen anything whatsoever out of order. They order quality material, they demand that, and they want to run a good project. And where I live, we just recently were in competition for one of the casinos, and we lost. And so in my community, in our beautiful valley, our kids will have nowhere to go, no reason to stay. I think this is a wonderful thing. In the long term, the flow of money that'll end up back in the town and stick here is a very good benefit to the town, and I appreciate very much. I've been doing business in this industry for 37 years, and I find that the people at Silo Ridge are the real deal, that the plans are well laid out, and that that they try and do everything that they can to make sure that the least amount of interference is done. And I'll leave it at that. It's a pleasure to do business with them. The 90 employees of Page Lumber appreciate that they're buying from Page Lumber as much as they can. Nothing is taken for granted. We have to earn the business that we get from them, but they're very fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, Elise Harding.
Elise Harney. I have been on boards in Salisbury and actually ran for selectman in the town of Salisbury. And I want to thank you guys and ladies for your patience, for your diligence in a very long process. So I'm sure everybody thanks you and appreciates that. I have spoken about the White Hart Inn as a source for jobs in the area, but I think more meaningfully would be Harney and Sons Tea in Millerton. Harney and Sons Tea, as of today, employs 181 people. Now, most of those people come in at an entry level. If they show the initiative, they're trained over a 10 or more year period. One of our employees is actually in China with my son Michael. She is his second in command in purchasing tea. That's how good she has gotten. So my feeling is Silo Ridge is a service industry. Service industries do the same thing. They offer opportunity at an entry level. Then people have the opportunity for training. I think Amenia has a fabulous opportunity to boost their economy, to help their residents, actually to gain more residents, because the other thing that has happened at the tea company, if we do hire people from out of the area, very often they come, they end up starting a family, buying a house, becoming residents. So again, I think Amenia has a tremendous opportunity for Silo.
Ron Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ron Hicks, Deputy Commissioner of Strategic Planning and Development for Dutchess County. As you know, the town has referred this project to the county, and the department has reviewed the project, and which has been scaled down considerably from the project that the community previously approved. And the department responded to the town with comments and recommended a local decision. Aside from the obvious significant economic benefits, this project we think is thoughtful and sensitive in its architecture, its density, and its impact on the environment, and most importantly, our community. Additionally, we believe this project will provide hope and opportunity for all residents of Dutchess County. And the county executive has gone on record expressing his strong support of this project. I am here this evening on his behalf to once again reiterate his support and respectfully request the board's support of this important project in the best interest of our county and our community. Thank you for the time.
Dave McMillan.
Hi, I'm Dave McMillan, and I've stood before all of you numerous times in support of what this project's all about. I'm from Millerton, New York. I'm in the Weebatuck School District. I like the idea of the tax base that we may see from this project. I'm in particular support of the workforce that they're going to need not only to build this project, but to keep it going forward. I'm also in favor of, because I run a nonprofit, food drive, that they've expressed interest in working with nonprofits, whether it be the local fire departments or local nonprofits such as myself. I take them at their word. They've done tremendous things for me in the past in my organization, so I do take them at their word. I agree with everything that's been said here tonight, that I believe that they're upstanding. They do a tremendous job. My hope is that they hire some local contractors to do a portion of the work that can be done by local contractors. I was very pleased to see somebody here from HG Page, because that means they're buying local. And so to me, that's very important. So I'm not gonna go down that road anymore, because you've heard it from me before. I do want to bring it to the residents of Amenia and Wausau, who are the taxpayers who control this board. I just want you guys to remember one thing. These gentlemen and ladies here are volunteers. They read every single page of documents for every single project that goes on in your town. And I think sometimes we forget how much volunteer time that takes. It's just as much as being a volunteer fireman or a volunteer ambulance person or somebody that just volunteers in their community. And I think these people should be thanked, not only this board, but all your boards in Amenia and Wausau, because they are volunteers. See, we all forget that. We come down and give them a hard time. Well, what do you mean the tree's going to be 14 feet high? They're the ones that volunteer to take this project on, and they do it diligently, and they read every single page of documents that not only that Silo Ridge gives them, but every other project that goes on in your town or my town. And so that's just my thought. You're the taxpayer in Amenia, and if they say it's a go, they've done their homework, and it's not going to hurt any of us. So in my mind, like I said before, I've been a staunch favorite of this particular project. Okay, thank you.
I appreciate the praise.
No problem.
Leo Blackman.
I think be on the other side of the desk.
Go ahead.
I'm Leo Blackman of 74 Old Route 22. I want to thank the members of the Planning Board who spent countless unpaid hours reviewing this complex proposal. As former chair of the Zoning Board, I know exactly how much fun that can be. I'm an architect. I can't speak to the significant legal or environmental issues Silo Ridge brings, so I'll stick to the visual impacts, which is what I know. Thank you. I've lived here 12 years and have come to love the specific character of the buildings and landscape in Amenia. While the Discovery Company offers a quality product, they have not paid much attention to what makes Amenia unique. Their clubhouse and multifamily homes are massive, each much bigger and taller than any barn or commercial building now standing in town. And the architectural precedents shown in their brochures, while lovely, are from all over America, not from Dutchess County. So there are design problems of both scale and style that I would hope the Planning Board noticed already. Much of the site plan is carefully considered, but as development moves away from the village green and climbs higher up the steep slopes, our zoning code gets tossed out the window. The first waiver requested for minimum size and maximum slope of lots involves around 80 parcels. That means more than a third of the homes need exemptions just to get built. If you allow those, how will the Planning Board or the Zoning Board ever get future applicants to follow the code? I've reviewed the topographic sections proposed for the estate homes, and they involve major regrading with multiple 8-foot-high retaining walls and loss of vegetation. When the applicant hung tarps this fall between leafed-out trees to indicate visibility for a mere 3 of the 26 houses, these appeared very prominent from the scenic part of Old Route 22. In winter, after those trees have been cleared, we will see 2 lines of houses rather than a green mountain. I'm surprised the application has gotten this far without proper mock-ups to show folks the changes in store for that slope and for Delaverne. In most places, they usually use sticks and netting to indicate the bulk of buildings, and I don't think that's happened here at all. This project promises Amenia economic development, which is terrific. We need jobs and taxes, but we can have that without losing the views that define Amenia. The planning board is responsible for negotiating on our behalf. We ought to be asking more from this developer than some extra restaurant customers, the lovely drapes in this room, and a view of the outside of their gatehouse. The planning board could and should demand fewer estate homes and vineyard cottages, which clutter the view shed. They should require airtight bonding of the development company, and if we're not going to get a town sewer out of this, at least an adequate payment to build affordable housing. The number that was selected by my calculation on number of units can't possibly build affordable housing if the numbers promised. So thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm here to speak in favor of Silo Ridge. As a restaurant and business owner, it's clear to me that there is a need for change in this community. I believe Silo Ridge to be that positive change that we've all been looking for. Today, there is a lack of incentive in our town. Businesses are failing left and right and giving future generations zero interest in Amenia. One of the main reasons why my partners and I decided to invest in Amenia is the vision that Silo Ridge shared with us of how we could make this place a much more self-sustained. A place with a strong community that cares about each other, grows together, and will be a home to many more future generations. It is an honor to have such ambitious people working tirelessly to make this town a much better place, to give our residents jobs, provide us with more services, and create a stronger community that today we lack.
Hi, I'm Tony Cutlow, and I'm from Dover, but I speak as a member of the Amenia Fishing Game. As most everybody knows, we've been around there since 1946-47. When the gravel bank was reclaimed into a golf course, we had to modify some of the things we did there. We did away with the trap and skeet range. Now we are being pressured into making major modifications. One of the big things that we noticed last year was several of the members, as they were using the handgun range, they noticed there were construction vehicles and utility vehicles driving directly behind the target area, 20 feet away. Thankfully, we've got very competent people, and no one got hurt. But why would a construction outfit have a construction road going right behind one of our target lanes? Don't they care about their own people? And then, on our own, no one asked us, just for a safety's sake, we shut that range down. We moved it to a different area. fine. Now, as we start looking, there are 10 house sites that are within the 500-foot range that will totally shut us down because you cannot discharge a firearm within 500 feet of a dwelling. Why? Why was that allowed? And for no other reason, even if they do meet that 500-foot range. Who in their right mind is going to buy a house right next door to a shooting range? And if they do, what's going to happen? We're going to end up in court along with the town. So I ask that something be done to modify what they're doing. We don't want to be bad neighbors. I'm all for this project. I think it would be great, not just for Amenia, but the entire 2244 corridor. But we've been here a long time. We're a little club. We don't have the money to fight. We're asking for help from the town to help prevent problems. We want to save you. We open up our club to Boy Scouts, 4-H, local law enforcement, and many other activities that we don't even charge for. And if we go out, where are these people going to go? So please, help us do something to make things workable. We're not against the whole project, not in any way, shape, or form. We realize things are going to change. We're willing to change. But what we're seeing will shut us down. And we will be no more. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Doyle, live on South Amenia Road in South Amenia. I have spent a good deal of time on the comprehensive plan, chaired it for the last 2 years, and currently spend a good deal of my time volunteering on 2 economic development organizations, boards. And so I really am about economic development. I really believe in it and put a lot of energy and effort into it. But one thing that I really stand for is the numbers and the accountability that is required by the taxpayers, by our state government, by our comptroller, and so on, to get the numbers right. If you make promises as a, as an IDA or a economic development organization, then at some point there has to be some reality to those numbers. Now, I'm talking about the promises as regards the tax surpluses. We have all received postcards in the mail speaking of really big numbers as surpluses in the taxes. And so how can that be? How can a town actually end up with more money than it ever asked for? Where does it go? It's impossible. So, and inherently we all know that, and certainly people on town boards, this town assessor, particularly those that are involved with forming the town budget, know that you cannot receive more money than you ask for. That is what the levy is for. And the levy is based on the total town taxable value and how much, the mill rate, the amount that is taxed, is based on comparing the total town taxable value to the amount that needs to be raised. The mistake that has been made here is that the fiscal impact statement has taken the old mill rate, the old tax rates. It has used the old town tax base, which is just over $500 million, and applied that to Silo Ridge's new, more or less, $500 million increase. So clearly the mistake is that the increased tax base from Silo Ridge should have been added to the town tax base to create a whole, at which point the levy would have been a far smaller percentage of the entire total. This would make sense. There's another part to it. There's an assumption. There's an assumption that costs will only go up 15%. Per year, and that is a basis of understanding on this. And so when you combine a doubling of the tax base, a little more than that, and only an increase of 15%, clearly you're going to get a surplus. But what my point is that the millions of dollars that you see are not going to occur, and it is incumbent on somebody to tell the public what in fact it will be. There will be savings, there's no doubt about that, but let's not get carried away. So, and the other thing, I have always stood up here and said, made comments on the environmental issues. I'm very anxious that you follow very closely what the Duchess Land Conservancy has to offer and go with their recommendations as regards the conservation easement. Thank you.
All of you land for condo or take out?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't know that was to speak.
But you don't want to speak? Tony Alexander?
Hi, I'm Tori Alexander. I'm actually here today on behalf of Elaine Labella, who couldn't be here. She's with the Housatonic Valley Association, so I'll be reading her comments. She has 3. The Dear Chairman Fontaine and Planning Board members, the Housatonic Valley Association reviewed the application and has several overall concerns. First, the applicant must be required to comply with the town code and redesign the project rather than request waivers from local and state regulations. The town of Amenia has enacted common sense road and building ordinances that protect property owners, follow the town's comprehensive plan, and provide an approval process that is predictable, fair, and efficient. The applicant is seeking multiple waivers to exempt the project from many ordinances, including the minimum required buildable area, the maximum slope of buildable area, construction of roads, and treatment of buffer zones and cul-de-sac design. In particular, the planning board must require the applicant to move the estate houses and the vineyard cottages that would be sited on slopes greater than what is permitted under the Town Code Section 105-21A. 2. The planning board should require the applicant to hire an independent post-construction inspector to ensure that buffers are respected, stormwater management functions properly, and other environmental requirements in the zoning are enforced. 3. We expect the planning board and the applicant to follow the Duchess Land Conservancy's recommendation to protect 80% of the property by a conservation easement. We recommend the town and the applicant for the we commend the town and the applicant for their shared commitment to conserving a significant portion of the property in its natural state. In order to ensure that the protections remain in place in perpetuity, granting a conservation easement to the local accredited land trust is of paramount importance. The Duchess Land Conservancy, accredited by the Land Trust Accreditation Commission of the Land Trust Alliance, has the capacity and the local presence needed to observe and monitor the property and can respond quickly to any situation that might degrade the conservation values of the property. In conclusion, we ask the Planning Board to carefully consider all relevant facts and evidence in making its decision on this application and minimize the environmental impact of the proposed project, including the effects on the wetlands and the watercourses, capacities to facilitate drainage, prevent flooding, supply and protect surface and groundwaters, and support fish and wildlife. Thank you for this opportunity to provide our comments. Thank you.
Vincent Baez.
Mr. Chairman, my comments are directed toward the extensive requests for waivers and variances. The Silo Ridge project and its endorsement is not to be based on a popularity project. The Standard State Zoning Enabling Act allows special use permits and variances only when based on a finding that is compatible with surrounding area and developments which are already permitted under the general provisions of the Amenia Comprehensive Plan, thus allowing that the special use permits and variances requested in the plan and by the planning board, it is upending and disregarding the town's master plan and setting a precedent that any future development can expect their variances and special use to be easily granted. So you are setting a new norm for Amenia. Granting of special use permits and variances is equivalent to spot zoning. Such requests are to be granted in case of hardships. Are the requests by Silo Ridge Ventures truly hardships or a matter of imposing their will on the established zoning codes? Yes, they have reviewed their project for several times and revised it, but these revision plans still do not assure compliance. You are known by your deeds. Does it mean and does it seem compatible with Amenia's plan to have the building of berms and the installation of trees on Route 44? Is this the first of their making a closed community? Remember, I will quote from their executive summary, the exact order and time frame for each component of the project will depend on the market, the real estate market. Does the tax revenue and projected and economic activities expect to be relying on the market conditions? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Brad Mitchell.
Hi, my name is Brad Mitchell. I live in Red Oak. I'm a small business owner in Pine Plains. It's been tough the last 5 to 10 years owning a small business, and I would reiterate many of the comments that have already been made about the need for change in business climate in this area. I think this project, from what I've seen, is well thought out, well planned. Materials are top notch, and they're looking to make the buildings, the homes, look beautiful. I think it would be a shame if this was not to go forward, and I just wanted to lend my strong support. Thank you very much.
Donnie Cummins.
Good evening, Don Cummings, Wausau. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. You know, here we are again, 6 to 8 months. We had a meeting prior to this. It's like put another quarter in the jukebox. Come on, it's the same stuff again. After the last meeting, Shiloh Ridge met with the planning board and other members. They downsized it and everything, and here we are again. The same people are still complaining this and that. My thing is, give it a chance. Pass this thing, move it to the next sector, and work together. Let's get this thing going. One other thing, sorry. I would like to see the planning board end this meeting tonight. This is the last public hearing. Make this happen. Let's get it rolling.
Ralph Sandy, I think it is. That could be. Sorry about that. I didn't see you back there, Ralph, otherwise I would have noticed. That's the boy.
Yes, I'm Ralph Savoy. I'm also from Amenia Fish and Game, and we've been dealing with Pedro for a couple of years now, and I think he's an honest guy. I mean, we've been talking back and forth. But one of the only things that I did notice is on, because we do let the 4-H use our range for their use to hunt, or their targets. And with the 50-yard range where it's at, where we're going to let them shoot a couple nights a week, I think it is. I just noticed 2 of the houses, I think it's LL10 and LL9, that might be in the overfly range, or it might be a little too close for us to be able to shoot, which would probably make us like non-conforming. I don't know how that works. So, but other than that, I think they should go for it. So.
Sharon Kroger.
My name is Sharon Kroger. I have a small business in Wausau Hamlet, and I'm the former chair of the 10 Mile River Watershed Commission. First, I want to place in the record the May 2nd planning editorial from the Millbrook Independent. This editorial makes the point that it is essential for planning boards to address the regional context as well as the local concerns, especially where a viewshed such as Amenia's has been highlighted within the county-wide comprehensive plan. It seems that council to the planning board has been giving contrary advice. Second, I want to return to the point I made at the earlier hearing, requesting that the planning board, those of you look into the scope of chemicals that will be authorized on the golf course. Thus far, the public is unaware of any such discussion by this board. The concern is that deadly chemicals such as glyphosate, which was used in Monsanto's Agent Orange, not be authorized for the steep slopes of the Laverne Hill. Less than half a mile down the watershed, you have many homes with drinking water wells in the historic hamlet of Wausau. That drinking water is pristine, and part of this planning board's responsibility is to keep it that way. Studies of glyphosate in groundwater should be part of your review of this issue, and I shall attach a summary of one of these where groundwater became contaminated so that you'll have it. Thank you.
Is there anybody that arrived after the start of the public hearing that would like to speak that didn't get? Okay, Brad? Can you come up, please state your name for the reporters and for the...
Okay.
Just spell Brad for everybody.
Brad Rebelard 464, Old Route 22, Amenia, New York. I've spoken before. I'd like to place in the record, Happy Cinco de Mayo. Independence. That's my theme. Number one, thank you for all the new comments. I think we've heard a lot of comments over and over and over again. 10 years, is that right? About right? Okay. All right. I think times change. I have children. I think they deserve a chance in this town, as I did. Okay? So let me go on to point two. I don't want to elaborate. Fiduciary duty. This town board has a fiduciary duty to the town of Amenia and its constituents. If this town cannot run, if the tax base shuts down, we cannot fund projects for those who are in need. If this town allows too many agricultural assessments, forestry reductions in taxes, how can we pay for the things that this town needs? I'll move on to point three. Tax base. This town cannot set a precedent in this meeting. And if they turn down the prospect of perpetuating a positive tax base, they will shut down this town. That's math. It has nothing to do with opinion. Funding projects, tax exemptions, keeping the town afloat, ag and forestry, as I mentioned, keeping the town open, as I mentioned, having the funding for the project for those in need, as I mentioned, stabilization of costs for our community. And on this whole concept of a closed community, what is the first thing that a buyer of a large property in our community does? They put up no trespassing signs. What's this closed community thing all about? What's the difference? I don't understand that concept. I'll move on, and hopefully I'm not going over my time limit. Tell me. 15 seconds. All right. It's not about me. It's about my children. I've had my time. I'm 55 years old. I've lived in this town my whole life. My mother lived in this town, etc. Let's give them a chance. Why are we going to stick to staunch? I don't want to go there. We have had 10 years of paid consultants at a high rate, and they've done a fantastic job. Let's end this meeting tonight. Thank you.
Introduce yourself if you could. My name is Chris St. Ange. I have a small business in Dover Plains, and I had the privilege of working with Silo Ridge last year. They seemed like a really nice company. They treated me well. They gave me plenty of work last year. They seem to keep a lot of local businesses going. And I think if you don't approve this project, what you're going to end up having is what you have in Wingdale, a dead horse. What you have in Dover, another dead horse. There's no grocery store, there's nothing. You're turning down a company that's willing to invest in another dead town. I mean, there's nothing really here. Give them a chance to get something going and help the community. I think it's a fair reason to give them a chance. I mean, I really do. I mean, you look at Wingdale, it's done. There's nothing there. The only town that's even close to having something is Pauley. It's a real town. Pine Plains. I worked there every day for 4.5 years. It's a dying town too. They're trying to invest in your town. You should be honored, and you should be giving them the permits and whatever it takes to get them going. The little problems that you have with the gun clubs and the variances and whatever they need, you should work out with them. Of course, trying to help the community in the right way, but you should try and work it out. I mean, they have to give, and you have to give. That's how it works. I mean, otherwise you're just going to have another dead town in New York. That's what's happening all over. And
If you don't approve it, you'll just be like the other towns. And even worse, because you shot them down. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak at this point? Oh, okay. Introduce yourself if you could.
My name is Ruben Ford. I'd like to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of Silo Ridge. As a young guy coming to this town, I'm not originally from this area. I've learned a lot coming here, and honestly, in my opinion, I think this town really needs this growth. I come from a small town in New Jersey that's very similar to this one, and I've noticed that, you know, in that town, they always shoot down good projects, things that will stimulate the economy, give back to the people. I know myself personally, I go to Richie's Deli almost every day. Imagine if we have 100 people, if not more, working there. That's just, you know, that much more money going back into the community. And something else I've noticed too, my town where I'm from, they always shoot down projects like this, and that gives the kids nothing to do during the summer. I'm not saying it's only a summer thing, but this course is not just offering jobs, it's offering careers. People come here, they want to settle down. Real estate market goes up. It's just a domino effect, all in good hope. So that was my biggest point I wanted to make, and hopefully you guys understand. Thank you.
Hi.
Your name, please?
Amanda Bogan. This work with this is very overwhelming. I work with high school students every day, and this is like, whoa. So I moved here in September. I originally am from Highland. My husband is from Rockland. We moved to Connecticut. I currently work in Hartford and drive an hour and a half to work every single day. I chose to do that because I fell in love with Amenia. I grew up coming out here to visit my family. My grandmother lives out here, all my cousins, all my aunts, all my uncles. I love it out here. I thought it would be hard to move out here because it is a smaller town. I'm not used to that. Since I've been here, I've absolutely loved it. I'm planning to set up my family here. I have no children right now because I'm planning it. I am planning to live here for the next 30 to 40 years, raise my kids here, send them to Weebatuck Central School District, have them live here, work here as teenagers, and I'm planning this. I think Silo Ridge would allow this to happen. If this doesn't happen, I'm scared that my dream of living out here will be over because there is no financial incentive for me to stay or to even survive out here. I bought a house. My husband and I waited a very long time to make the decision. We fell in love with Amenia, and I'm just expressing to you the need that this project will solidify my future here. I'm scared that if this does not happen, the younger generation will leave this area. The younger generation will not want to come. I'm 27. I bought a house. I volunteered to buy a house here. I could have gone to other areas. I loved Amenia, and I don't want other people to be driven out or not want to come simply because there is no financial incentives and they do look at it as a dying town. I don't see it as a dying town unless this does not go through. If this goes through, I really think it can spark Amenia. We have my family has a 127-year-old business over in Poughkeepsie. It's going to help that company as well. It's hard right now. It's very, very difficult to live in the Hudson Valley during this time because the finances, people are leaving. New York is hard to live in. However, if companies like this maintain, it will help this town survive. So I just wanted to express my support for this.
Mike, do you want to speak?
Mike Delango, 24 Yellow City Road, Amenia, New York. Most of you know I've been a business owner in this town for 22 years now. All of you pretty much know where I stand on this project. I think it's a good project. I think it'll be good for the town. But my point I want to make tonight is for the project, against the project. It's a process that has been gone through. The process has to move forward. There has to be a decision made on this project, and that's what I'm here to say tonight. So if you're for the project, against the project, a decision has to be made. And I would, try to get the board to make a decision as soon as possible, because there's a lot of people in Amenia relying on this. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tonya Shumatoff, and I'm speaking as a citizen of Wassaic, so I'm taking off my hat for the Millbrook Independent, and I'm taking off my hat for the HVA. I just want to say that I would be a lot more excited about this project if it showed some semblance of being energy efficient and having, in a period when it's kind of passé to have McMansions that use a huge amount of oil and energy and have a huge carbon footprint. I think it's, and when we have Alan Shope here, who's built a completely carbon neutral house, it cost $1.3 million to build. I don't understand why these very wealthy people can't have houses that are more energy efficient. And I just want to put that out. I think it's very important in this day and age, especially since a lot of people are not going to be living there full time. So I would be happier if I heard that people were more caring for the energy aspect of the environment. The other thing is, I feel that you guys have been way too lenient with this applicant regarding the sewer. You could have easily asked for the $1.3 million that we need by August to get sewer for Amenia. That is not a whole lot of money for this developer to contribute. And they would do it if you insisted on it. I also think you should be very strict about the bonding. We've heard from the Dutchess County Wastewater Authority that the town is responsible to dismantle the entire wastewater if the infrastructure is built and they don't sell enough houses. Guess what? This is a big gamble, this development. We don't know that people are going to spend $10 million on these houses, 1.5 to 10 million. If they don't, the town is responsible, our taxpayer money, to dismantle it. So you better ask enough money for bonding, or else we're going to be in trouble. And that is a serious possibility. There are many very wealthy gated communities that have gone belly up. So I think you have to be a little stricter, a little less wet behind the ears when you ask for the dollars and cents to cover us as taxpayers. And I'm a taxpayer. Thank you.
Anybody else that wishes to speak at this point?
Hello, my name is Harry D'Onofrio. I've been looking at some properties here in town, and some of the things that concerned me were the Silo Ridge project, and I think if it goes through, it's going to help with the taxes and the property value after the purchase. I think that it's just looking at the thought that went into it. I think that it'll bring value and some needed jobs. So I'd like to see the project go through, and I hope it comes to pass. I'd like to spend more time and purchase a property here. So thanks.
Anybody else wish to speak? No? At this point, any discussion from the board on any matter? Asking the board if there's any discussion from the board at this point. All right, please make a determination.
I'd like to make that motion.
The motion to end.
Close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing? Yep.
I'll second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'd like to see just a little bit more time, allow Silo a little more time to respond to the public comments, to work through a lot of the comments from our consultants. think it's really important, as people have said before, that we get this right, and just a little bit more time can't hurt. Everything is going quite well, but we just got to make sure that our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, and I think we could use just a little bit more time.
You've had a motion made, the motion must pass. Do we need a roll call on that?
No, I'm just saying. I didn't say aye.
Okay. You understand? Yeah, we do a roll call, please.
Yes. No.
Yes.
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 At this point, it's all set. Any further matters, Dave? You're on. Thank you, folks. That's it tonight.